Hi everybody, welcome to Sharon's Home and Garden channel. So today we are going to batch can tomatoes. So I'll see you right back here in 30 seconds. So this recipe is in this Ball Blue Book Guide to Preserving, and it is on page 32, and I'm going to do this tomatoes packed in water recipe. Let's get started. So one of the first things I'm going to do is fill up my canning jar. My canning pot, and I want to fill it to an inch over the top of these jars. Now these jars are full of water, and once I get about an inch over the top, almost there, there we go, then I will stop. Here on the sink I have a pot of water, and I'm gonna get this to start boiling. I'm gonna use this to blanch the tomatoes to get the skins off of them. Here comes the fun part. It wasn't as heavy as I thought it was going to be. This is where having a big sink comes in handy. I've got water. I'm going to put ice in there, and then I've got a place to put the peels, and then I'm using this big bowl again to put the tomatoes that I have peeled. This is 20 pounds of tomatoes. What I'm going to do is take each one and at the very bottom put an X in them, like that, and then drop them into the boiling water. Can you see that? We'll do them a couple at a time here. And I like to use a spider like this to drop them into the water. So you boil them for 1 to 2 minutes. And then take them and put them in the ice water. Here you can see how the skin is peeling off? It'll do that in the boiling water. That's how you know they can come out. They don't have to be in there very long. Just long enough to get that skin to start to peel. In a half sheet pan with a wet paper towel, damp paper towel, and that's so it doesn't slide. My big bowl, a knife, and I also want a paring knife. And you can see these tomatoes, the skins want to come right off. So I use the paring knife to pull them off. Do this over here. So you want to take the core out. And if you want to do these whole, like if you want to put them in the cans whole, or in the jars. You just take the core out. There's the core. And I'm going to squeeze the seeds out. Just a little bit. But I'm going to cut these up so I can fit more per jar. And that's what I'm going to do for all of these. Here are all the tomatoes that I cored and peeled and de-seeded as much as I could. There's still some seeds in there, but I'm not going to worry about them. And then over here, this is all the peels and the cores here. Dishes I have to do. Here I'm heating up the canning pot. And then the type of canning I'm doing requires a pot of boiling water, and then in the back are the lids getting warmed up. So we should be able to get this going pretty soon. Well, let me show you over here. I've got my jar gripper, this thing that tells how much headspace, and it also gets the bubbles out. This is to get the lids out of the hot pot. I need citric acid, half a teaspoon per quart jar. Then I have 2 hot pads here, one for the lids and one for the boiling water that's going in the jars. And then I always work on a big cutting board, and I found this to hold on to the jars, the hot jars. So we're ready to go. Alright, so we have a hot jar here, and my hand isn't big enough to hold this jar. So I'm going to just fill this. The jar cools off pretty fast. There we go. I'm going to fill it with a little bit of water, hot water. Get out all the air bubbles. There are quite a few. And we'll put more water in. And of course, I forgot to put the citric acid in. So I will give it one more move around, chance to get any air bubbles out. It's good. I only want one lid, not two. Fingertip tight. Put it back in the water. Sometimes it's like a circus. There go. Isn't that pretty? They're all in there. 7 quarts. I'm going to bring that back to a boil. This has to process for 45 minutes. So we're going to bring it to a rolling boil and then reduce the heat and let it simmer for 45 minutes. So the timer has gone off. Turn the heat off. Take the lid off and let this sit for 5 minutes. So I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. It's funny, you can hear the vacuum sucking in the cool air. So there you have it. Nice canned tomatoes. This is one way that you can preserve your tomatoes. Now there are a lot of other ways. You can do sauce, you can do salsa, you can do a hot pack, you can cook your tomatoes first and then can them. There are a lot of different ways to can them. This is just one way to can your tomatoes. And I have to say this was pretty easy. So I would definitely do this again. The whole process took me about, it's 10 to 5 right now. And I probably started about 1:30. So that whole process, and that's waiting for water to boil, and there was a lot of downtime in there. It wasn't the whole time. There's a lot of time it took to cut up the tomatoes and blanch the tomatoes and, you know, all the things you have to do. But it was 20 pounds of tomatoes, and I will have, you know, 7 batches of tomato sauce here. So I'm really happy with them. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Sharon's Home and Garden. If you like what you saw here, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. And until next time, happy gardening, everybody. Bye-bye.